All right, so I wanted to talk about boredom at the poker table. Now, I make the argument that there's no reason you should ever be bored at a poker table. All right, there's tons of information out there, and if you find yourself bored, you should just get up and walk away. At least I know what I did. Like when I find myself like really wandering and like looking at the cocktail waitress or checking my iPhone every 5 minutes or checking my email, I would just be like, all right, it's not the time to play, and walk away. Now that's the ideal kind of situation, right? But let's get practical here. I mean, very few players have 100% or 95% attention rate at a poker table. I mean, your attention is going to wane. I mean, you are going to get bored sitting hour and after an hour and after an hour. I mean, it's very difficult to have that ability to sit there and be in the zone for so long. But like if you talk to really good players, there are specific times where I know I can recall them in my career where you're just in the zone and you're just 100% focused, and it's like tunnel vision, and you're just focused on the game and nothing else, and you see everything and you see all the angles, and you're just an exceptional player. I wish this happened to me every single time I play. It didn't. Life and bullshit and, moods and temperament are definitely going to affect your play. One of the things I recommend is I see a lot of players, you just tell when they walk into the casino and when they sit down, the way they sit down in their chair, that they're not in a good mood, that something's wrong. And that's stupid. I mean, there's no reason to play when you're not in a good mood. One of the things I found when I was playing online a lot is initially I would get super tilty. And I mean, back in the days, you play for a month, work a bankroll up from $150 to $2,000, and then lose it all in an hour. I've done that more times than I can count. But the fact of the matter is, I started to learn that there are times where I had a certain level of energy, and I was a little bit, I don't know, too manic or too crazy to be playing poker. And I noticed that there are times where I was a lot more relaxed, and those are the times where I focus players. So you really need to understand your own temperament, and you really need to try to minimize boredom. I mean, think about, there's really no reason you should be bored though. There's so much information on that table. You can watch what's going on, you can see what players raise, how often they raise, what are their bet sizes. There's so much information in one single hand that you really can't afford to be bored. However, I do know that it happens. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but a worthwhile goal should be, you should be able to sit down at the table and at certain times be able to have 90% attention, be 100% focused on the game and just the game, nothing else. I mean, that's going to be your, I mean, ideally you're like that all the time, but I don't really think that's feasible. If anybody's out there like that all the time, I mean, even the best players you see, they lose a pot or they win a big hand, and sometimes it switches their level of boredom or switches their level of boredom or level of skill, essentially. The fact of the matter is this, you shouldn't be bored at a poker table though. You should try to work on that. If you find yourself bored, bored and checking your phone and looking around, I would walk away. Just get up, leave, do something else, go have, I don't know, go get a steak or something like that, and then come back and play. Because when you're bored, you're not processing or taking in the level of information that you need to. All right, there's no reason to be bored. When you leave a poker table, when I left tables, long sessions, especially live sessions, 12, 13 hour, 14 hour, 15 hour sessions sometimes, I was so mentally tired that I couldn't do anything. I just go upstairs, go to a hotel, sleep. That's it, done. And if you walk away from of a poker table, if you walk away from a 14-hour session and you're like, yay, 15-hour session, I guarantee you could have applied more cognitive process or more brain power to that game. So please for me, try not to be bored at a poker table, okay? It's really, really, really gonna help. I know it's not all the time, but try to figure out a percentage of how often you're actually bored. And if you dip below a certain percentage, maybe it's time to walk away, okay?